So, today we are going to talk about addiction, mental health, autoimmune disease, childhood trauma, and so much more. This is a talk or a few talks by Gabor Mate. And do you know there's times when people give you get some information. It could be the smallest thing that just clicks every other piece in place. Like it just makes everything make sense. When I found out, anyway, we'll talk about it. So this post has so many bits like this, like small pieces. Some are really big. So anyway, let's go through it and we'll talk more. So first thing I've shared is this meme or picture thing that I found. And why I've shared that first is because it's like a starting to what we're going to talk about. This person mentions a whole list of different drugs like nicotine, alcohol, caffeine, whatever it is. It isn't a gateway drug. What really is a gateway drug is things like trauma, childhood abuse, molestation, neglect, those kind of things. And the drugs, violent behavior, hypersexuality, and self harm are often symptoms, not the cause of much bigger issues. And it almost always stems from a childhood filled with trauma, absent parents, and an abusive family. I can't tell you how true that is for me, especially. And some of the groups I'm in, we always talk about these things. So, yeah. Anyway, she carried on to say, but most people are too busy laughing at the homeless and drug addicts to realize your own children could be in their shoes in 15 years. Communicate, empathize, rehabilitate. Original quote by Alexandria Vandel. The first talk we're going to get into is with Gabor Mate and Tim Ferriss. I've shared a video there for you, but the quick summary. So, stuff happens to us as children, we create defenses from it, and then we don't live authentic lives as we're living from that defensive state. You need to understand your own issues, and I've shared a link there where you can start with a book called The Trauma of a Gifted Child, The Search for the True Self. This is such a deep book. I might do a live like this with that book. I don't remember it changing my life that much because I had already figured out quite a lot. So we'll see. Feel free to ask if there's enough demand, then I'll do it. Um, let's get to the next point. So, this is such an important part. Sensitive and creative people are so sensitive that they get into drugs to escape from that sensitivity. How many artists do we know currently, as we speak right now? There's this guy going crazy on Twitter. If you know, you know. But a musical genius. That's how he got so big. That's how he became the first black billionaire or whatever he wanted to call himself and stuff. Because he stopped taking the medicine to, like keep him in track. Um, High performers are deeply disturbed inside. And I can't remember if Jordan Peterson said there was some research about how the top CEOs, they have something wrong with them. That's why they can't stop. They can't stop running that hamster wheel. And these top performers, so that's why he says these, which is why they are performers. They perform, they're performing something. So addiction is a behavior someone enjoys, gets relief in, and craves in the short term, but has negative consequences in the long term. We all have our own. The inability to give it up could be any kind of addiction, not just drugs. These things give you relief that you want or need. My personal story, I wasn't even addicted to alcohol, but I couldn't give it up for 3 years straight at least. Every Saturday, I used to get drunk to go to the club, dance my stress out. So that became my pattern until it wore me out. Towards the end, I had no choice but to let it go. Um, if you can't escape, fight back, or seek help, you end up tuning out. So you start tuning out of things. The child develops this defense. Getting depressed, ADHD, all these defenses are coping mechanisms. Okay. All these issues are somehow linked to adult child relationships and development. Social and physical environments that threaten human development because of scarcity, stress, or instability can lead to short term PHYSIO, physiologic and psychological adjustments that are necessary for immediate survival and adaptation, which may come at a significant cost in to long-term outcomes in learning, behavior, health, and longevity. So basically, when things, whatever the case is, these things, scarcity, stress, instability, they will make you adjust physiologically and psychologically for your immediate survival. All of us, we've done that. Like kids are so resilient in finding their own things to survive. But the thing is, later on in life, you'll see they use those kind of things which turn into risky behavior, bad behavior, addiction, stuff like that. Stressed mothers have more cortisol in the placenta and a connection to why adopted kids have more problems. Hmm, I didn't know that. I don't remember that. The basic architecture of the brain is constructed through an ongoing process that begins before birth and continues into adulthood. Early experiences affect the quality of that architecture by establishing either a sturdy or fragile foundation for all of the learning, health, and behavior that follows. All of it. The interaction of genes and experience literally shapes the circuitry of the developing brain and is critically influenced by mutual responsiveness of adult child relationships, particularly in early childhood years. Basically, quality of parent child relationships critically shape the brain. And there's such an important post, which I won't share in this one, but I'll talk about it. It talks about how important so many studies have showed that the presence of the father, as a good father, makes such a big difference according and can predict their future in if they'll end up in jail, risky behavior, stuff like that. Next point, we're dealing with effects, not the causes. So we have to go back to dealing with the cause. So if you're an addict, ask, what is it healing? What does it do for the person? If it numbs a pain, where did the pain come from? So that was one of those information that clicks things in place. The addiction is healing. Um, when you got addicted to something, I've stopped smoking and all these addictions now, but when I was doing those behaviors, what was I getting out of it? That's what I had to dig up. Most aggressive people came from abusive and stressed homes. The least aggressive people came from nurturing homes. If you were brought up peacefully, you would be peaceful. But the aggression is a defense of being sensitive. High alert required. So basically, me, my sibling, we're both hyper vigilant because we needed to be hypersensitive, hyper alert on smallest things. Like even if we were sitting, everything could be fine. The smallest thing which felt out of place would trigger us to be like, oh, do we need to go into our what do you call it? Stress responses, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, all those. So things like addiction are not a genetic disease. Now, there's a link there called the ACE test, Adversity Childhood Experience Quiz. Oh, a quiz, not test. and learn what it does and doesn't mean. So I did that test. I figured out a lot of things for myself. If you feel like you've been through some adversity, this might help you to get to know yourself a bit more. And I always endorse getting to know yourself and how things work for you personally. So there's a link there to do that one. Obesity is a pain of childhood trauma, and they're just stuffing down their pain. So, what was that pain? Um, Numerous countries all have the same results, and it's becoming a bigger problem with modern issues and insecurities. So, more and more countries are having this pain of people stuffing their pain down. Think of the addiction as a stupid friend. Thank that addiction. Instead of condemning the problem as in, why did I do this? You don't be hard on yourself. Come from curiosity. Why do I do this? Why did I do that? Then thank it and love it. Thank you, stupid friend. You helped when I needed it, but my growth game is strong. So don't not only tell your addiction, but tell yourself your growth game is so strong, you're going to figure out why this stupid friend, your addiction, is there. Thank you for helping me when I needed it. I needed to fix something. And yeah, we'll talk about it more. People's behaviors, external effects are traumatic, but the trauma is what is happening inside you. So the behaviors and the external effects is traumatic, but the trauma is what's happening inside you. You get disconnected from your emotions, you get disconnected from your body, difficult being in the present moment, a negative view of the world, a negative view of yourself, and a defensive view of other people. They keep showing up in the present, the stupid trend. Now, this one is important. That's why I made it bold. People shut down because they have to connect and attach. The body releases chemicals which the drugs help us release when we don't get it. Heroin feels like a warm, soft hug. Attachment is a non negotiable need. Another is authenticity, gut feelings. Our gut feelings don't work when we're not connected or have trauma. Your authenticity is suppressed if it's a threat. You'd rather have love from your parents than their anger. So again, we we were not being authentic when we were being hyper vigilant because now hyper vigilant people wherever they're going or somewhere they go and they see something going off, they think it's their fault. They internalize it, and usually they would either project it back or act defensive or act in a way that kind of spoils the relationship or it's not healthy, it's not authentic because that's what they're used to doing. Elvis is known to sing love songs, but it's his songs about loss of love, the need of love. Love me and I'll be anything you want. Okay. Next point is the more African American women experience racism, the more they have asthma. Inhalers contain adrenaline or cortisol, so their bodies have exhausted these stress chemicals. Ooh. Now here's an exercise you can do with. He does it with Tim when he was upset with someone. What did he feel? Did you feel disappointment? What happened? Sad. Tim said he was sad. Okay, go with the raw emotions. What happened was that when they didn't make their commitments, but what was the internal state? So the internal Tim didn't. So the internal Tim did not feel cared about. Did not feel cared about or respected. Let me say that again. So Tim's internal state, he did not feel cared about or respected. Tim is someone who doesn't deserve to be cared for or respected. So that's what his feeling was. Next, I'm going to put it as what are the reasons these said things didn't happen? And Tim's like, million reasons why. So we don't respond to what happens, we respond to our perception of what happens. Just like I was talking about this hypervigilance and defense, we respond to our perception of what happens. I'm going to make that bold. Number two, of all the interpretations, we chose the worst one. Number three, we don't purposely choose it, but the brain jumps to the worst one automatically. And this is something that keeps repeating and has happened before. It goes way back and we respond to the past. Assume you're most worthy. What would your response be? Imagine you felt the most worthy. Imagine you felt the opposite of whatever that victimhood feeling you had. What would your response be? So you learned that only you don't think you are worthy. If you see you are the source, you are the one with the power. I should put that as what if you see you are the one, you are the source, and you are the one with the power. Okay, next point. Your conflicts, all the difficult things, the problematic situations in your life are not just chance or haphazard. They are actually yours. They are specifically yours, designed specifically for you by a part of you that loves you more than anything else. The part of you that loves you more than anything else has created roadblocks to lead you to yourself. You are not going in the right direction unless there is something pricking in your side telling you, look here, this way. So it's a prick on your side, these things. Anyway, let me finish this quote. That part of you loves you so much that it doesn't want you to lose the chance. It will go to the extreme measures to wake you up. It will make you suffer greatly if you don't listen. What else can it do? That's its purpose. This was by A. H. Almas. Very nice quote. So, some solutions. Recover by reconnecting with yourself. Figure out if it was a bad figure out if it was bad things happened that shouldn't have, or if it was good things that should have happened that didn't happen. Were the parents so stressed or busy to give you love or time you needed? Well, in my case, it wasn't stress, it was something else. I guess it was stress. They had their own battles, so they just dealt it with the wrong way. Now, the next point is reconnect with the body also, or two. And there's a book called Walking with the Tiger Healing Trauma by Peter A. Levine. That link will take you to a summary of the book and has some really nice exercises where basically you are repeating the story to yourself of how things, you know, how animals, after they get hurt or after they've been attacked and they've lost to another animal, like our cat, he will come and play and fight with me or my wife, or he'll keep replaying it until he feels like, okay, now I won. I should have done this, I should have done that. You know how we have our little arguments in the car, like in our heads while we are driving alone in the car, having a shower or in the toilet or whatever, whenever that happens. That's what we're doing, we're replaying those things. Another one that I really like, it's called EMDR therapy, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Now, a few quick exercises are, every time you feel this stress or something, keep replaying it in your head, but keep moving up and down, in and out, this and that, and you'll notice like your eyes like being a special place. I think it's, for me, top right is my recalling, and I think this side is imagination. I can't remember. There's a lot going on with the eyes, so it's a good thing to look at. Another link is the AFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, or tapping. My cousin is really into it. I don't know if I've practiced it enough to feel anything, but a lot of people I know swear by this. So tapping is another thing. Sensory integration therapy. I haven't done this one. There's a link there. And then there's yoga. Now he's recommended Isha Foundation Inner Engineering, which is more than yoga. It goes into whole spiritual things. So unless that link takes you to just the yoga part of things, or I think that link takes you to a book, A Yogi's Guide to Joy. So that's Gabor Mate's suggestion. Feel free to check it out. Um, Other therapies which have become popular in this day and age is psychedelics, ayahuasca, MDMA, psilocybin. Lots of research on the speed of healing in these methods. People say years of work done by a session or so of psychedelics. Founder of AA designed it after psilocybin, after having psilocybin, and they don't talk about that part or the trauma part now. Be very careful of exploiters when trying out ayahuasca. Breaks down procedure of taking ayahuasca to get the best out of it and what one is seeking. So I haven't done it. I don't know things about it, so I'm going to let that go. So the next one is a video where Gabor Mate calls it "When the Body Says No," caring for ourselves while caring for others. So, summary: who gets sick is not accidental. They are not mysterious or unexplainable. They are not random, and people bring it on themselves in ways they don't understand. I think so too. Um, Chromosomes have telomeres at the end to keep it from fraying like a shoelace. They get shorter. Mothers taking care of kids will with chronic illness had 10 years shorter telomeres. So telomeres, if I remember correctly, they predict length of life or extend length of life depending on how long and short they get. But in this case, she's saying mothers with chronic illness of 10 years had shorter telomeres. So how we give care and the support we get are important. It's a good reminder for me also. Not that I don't support my wife, but she does like taking on a lot. Examples of obituaries are how one person's wives had the same illness. People never stopped their duties until before they died. So while they were sick, they still carried on instead of pausing for the cause. This is a very important one I need to highlight. Someone Someone else just blended in and didn't find, so she suppressed and repressed her anger and emotions, which made her explode in ways. I'm going to say in other ways. Note that the wrong kind of expression is rage, which is not healthy either. Either. So there's some study where 1,700 women looked over a 10 period. Wow. Looked over a 10-year period, the one who suppressed their feelings were 4 times more likely to die early. Reassurance to the man that the next time the husband thinks his wife is a bee, he should be happy about it. Hmm. Yeah, just bite your tongue. Just bite your tongue. Actually, don't always bite your tongue, but just be happy about it. There's a good saying by a few people, but the guy I remember saying it was Steve Harvey, who said, "Do you want to be happy or do you want to be right?" So, another obituary of women who juggled so much and was part of many activities and roles which were more important than who she was. Physicians a physician who dies of cancer because the person was being the ideal son, husband, human to others, responsible to others, and never letting others down because of pleasing everybody else. So all these things are people who are not living their true selves who died early. Nobody is asking you about your personal life choices, relationships, etc. to see what you contributed to your chronic illness, or to see what contributed to your chronic illness. They just treat the symptoms, separate people from the environment. Kids with parents who have stress have more asthma. Okay. See above about inhalers. I'm going to take that bit out. In the short term, stress hormones help you, but in the long term, they give you all kinds of issues like high blood pressure, etc. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. When someone comes to you and says, "Hey, buddy, do you want to talk about it?" It relieves you so much that the stress hormone stops releasing and you heal and recover faster. Mm, I need to put a reminder. Next one is people who pretend that nothing happens to them, act like nothing when people point out their health, or keep going on. They have specific illness like ALS. It's typically for people with ALS. Let's see what ALS is. Lateral sclerosis. Brain, spinal cord. Ooh, looks like it spoils the whole spinal column stuff. Our brains are wired for attachment. So when we don't get it, as kids, we cry. They are all connected by the nervous system to the brain, spleen, heart, immune cells, and everything. Chemical messengers are sent from immune cells to the brain, and another one is brain gut connection. Now, brain gut connection, my own personal story, my anxiety and my mental health, and my gut. Like, I remember just getting runs that time I had anxiety attacks and stuff like that until I got prebiotics and things just to balance things out. They are intact and connected in childhood, but to survive, they had to suppress them. Okay, so in childhood, kids had to suppress these just to survive because they were in stressful environments. I guess that's what he's saying there. Attachment is more important, and the next is the need for authenticity. So when you have to suppress your authenticity to be able to get attachment from your caregivers, is what makes us sick. The heart-brain connection is the fourth connection. When you suppress anger, the body goes against itself. Chronic illness is when the body says no because you don't know how to say no. It says it for you. It's not your fault, but you need to learn who you are and the ability to say no, to assert yourself instead of getting angry. When people around you are used to you saying yes and you start saying no, you will learn who your true friends are. Now, this one, it's such an important thing. I have a special separate post, which I'm sure I've linked over there. Uh, 14 quotes on the power of saying no. Please make sure you learn how to say no if you don't know how to say it. If you need some help, let me know and I'll come up with a plan for you. So many comedians are very troubled people because that is their reflex to heal and protection. Get on stage, and they even admit it when they're on stage. They're like, "Look, man, I'm letting it all out because I need approval and love from you guys." So when they bomb, there's always thoughts of suicide, and so many people get into bad habits and stuff. There was a very interesting documentary, Just for Laughs. No, Dying Laughing, I think it was called. Caregivers need to be kind to themselves. Actually, yeah. People with addictions have family members with some kind of illness. Hmm, let's think about that. Yeah, I'm going to need to think about that more, but I can already see it. Bulimia is a form of addiction, buildup of tension, and then sudden relief. So purging is like they're having their own relief. Anorexia is an attempt to be in control of something. When your life is out of control, you get to be in charge. Relationships with caregivers is the most important cause. Self suppression on the part of the daughter. Constantly getting into accidents is not accidental. Ignoring risks, unaware of environment, etc., that is not stress. The stress is not being able to express that someone was treating you wrong, abuse, no support, etc. Long long-term stress because of suppression. Now, there was a time I had so many. I still call it unfortunations, and I can see how it's someone trying to express that someone was being abusive. Yep, it takes a lot to live a healthy life. So people who are discouraged need to listen to, need to be listened to. So people who are discouraged need to be listened to. I don't know why he was saying that. Many of these issues are reversible. It takes time and effort, but it's a commitment. Now, a word of encouragement here. Um, it took me 8 to 10 years to get from past trauma. So after the trauma happened, I didn't even know I had trauma. I didn't know all these things. Like, it took me years of studying all this stuff, but I kept working on myself. And the thing is, you're living with yourself. No matter where you run, that there you are. So it's better to start even chipping away little bits. How much ever you can take and do, just do that much. Then if you feel like giving up, give up for a bit, then start trying again. Because so many times I gave up. Then I'm like, look, man, there was a brave part in me which didn't want to let go. And I'm still working on so many other things. But the main bits I needed to work on, ah, I was so glad. And this is why I'm sharing these lives with you. All my life tab in YouTube is all about the stuff that has taken me to the next level, which is why I really want to share it with you, because I can't tell you how important it is that you work on this. No matter what thing it is, just have an intention in your head. Okay, this is the problem I have. And now you have chat gpt, you have so many things to keep talking to it, asking it questions. I have chat gpt on my phone where I just talk to it, and we just have conversations like, okay, these are the things I'm feeling. What one thing I really like doing is asking for a word, one word or a term for whatever it is I'm feeling. uh, Recently, I wanted to deal with something called, ChatGPT told me the words. I really like them: sideline snipers and armchair critics, because the people who don't do much in your life, but somehow you let them affect your state of mind every now and then. So I wanted to understand what it was and stuff like that. So remember, you can change. There's so much in your life you can change. Whatever I thought I could not change, it's just your brain rewiring itself, which connects to the body. The body then acts according to it, and this, it's like a chain reaction happens once certain pieces fall in place. Like this post fell in place after the fact that I did everything, and it just enforced everything for me. So look, I'm putting it out there. You can go to my blog page. There's a contact button there. Feel free to talk to me about anything if you want to talk to me, or just let it out. Throw, if you just need to vomit something out, let it out, man. Just let's let's start healing. Let's start growing. And I'll leave it there. Um, I think the only thing left in this one is he's asking over there, in what area of your life are you not saying no? So the biggest exercise you should need to take from this is, where do you need to start saying no more? And if that question doesn't make sense, you think about the situations where you're like, you keep reeling in more than 6 months. I should have done this. I should have done that. That's the first place to start working on. And just pick one thing. Just try and focus on one thing. I used to focus on one thing. Now I've become so good at it that I can do at least three, depending on how big the bites are. Usually, I pick one big one small one, and one just random one that's been bugging me. So that's that. Now I'm just blabbing away. So I'll leave you there, and I shall see you in the next one.